Hey everybody, welcome to the RR Live Wellness Unfiltered podcast. My name is Robert Reams, the host and the producer of the show, and as always, I'm here to inform and inspire you, to educate you, and to motivate you so that you can take this information, put it to work in your lives, share it with your loved ones and your families. I've come a long way to have this opportunity to sit in front of you today. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome to another version of the RR Live Wellness Unfiltered podcast. My name is Robert Reams, the host and the producer of the show. And again, I really appreciate you tuning in. We are here again at Spread the Positive Studios in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And thanks again to Trent, the mastermind here at Spread the Positive, and Terry at Nashville Fit Media Podcast Network. We've got some great things going on this show and everything about Nashville Fit. So today's episode is one that is come up very recently because of this, what was called Fit for TV, which was a Netflix or is a Netflix series that kind of gives an overview, a documentary of the show The Biggest Loser. Now, The Biggest Loser has been off the air for a long time. But the effects of Biggest Loser, as you're going to see here, live on, and live on. In not a good way. First of all, let's talk about why they possibly even did this documentary. I think it was to bring out the fact that what the show did, what the show emulated, what the show meant, what the show represented was supposedly, or the pseudo intentions of the people that began this whole fiasco, was to help people get healthy. Was to help people get healthy. Now that's the carrot. That was not the case. Let's go back to the beginning of my first year on the Dr. Phil Ultimate Weight Loss Challenge, 2003, 2004. You've heard the story. Dr. Phil and Robin McGraw brought me on as their trainer, their personal trainer. And the next season, after I was already working with both of them for a year. And I came into the training room one day and Phil was warming up on the elliptical. And he nods at me and he says, "See that notebook over there on the bench? Go take a look at it." I go down, I sit down while Phil's warming up and I start thumbing through the notebook. And it is the profiles for the original 13 Ultimate Weight Loss Challengers. Dr. Phil wrote a book that is still one of the greatest weight loss books ever done, called The Ultimate Weight Solution. He says, "We're going to launch the book on the show, and I want you to come on and do some training." And I said, "Absolutely. 100%. Obviously, yes." And my professional life at that moment changed forever. But so much more changed as well. So we went on to do the Ultimate Weight Loss Challenge, 2003, 2004. And I'm going to give you nuances of that challenge in a second. But that was the start of something amazing. And I will tell you a couple key points, one in particular. It also changed my career forever, changed the way I work, and changed my perspective, and also really affirmed much of what I already knew at that time, but it really took it over the top and there was no turning back. We taped for 5 days at a huge mansion in Beverly Hills. This place had its own bowling alley, its own indoor Olympic pool, tennis courts, looking over the city, the whole thing. I mean, it was amazing. And the purpose of that 5-day shoot was to get the challengers ready to go. And my job was to test them. I tested them in a 1-mile walk. How fast could they cover a mile? I tested their balance. I tested their upper body strength. I tested their lower body strength. We did all kinds of testing. And meanwhile, they were fully medically cleared by their doctors and our show physician at the time before any of this was done. Up and up, legal, practical, and ethical. That's the way it's supposed to be done. 5-day shoot, amazing. One of the main things that I saw, like I said, was I went and I sat right beside the set there where Dr. Phil sat and interviewed each one of these contestants about their life, about what led them to become obese, about what led them to become letting themselves go and their health going in the complete wrong direction. And some of these folks were in really, really bad shape. And I watched these interviews. Wasn't about sets and reps. Wasn't about how fast you could run or how fast you could do a mile or whatever. It was about their life. What led them to this condition, this state that they were in right there? And I knew that day what I had known before, but it was really, like I said, confirmed that day that weight and health issues largely and predominantly are almost always the result of something much bigger in life. It's a result. Trauma, depression, injuries, abuse, all kinds of abuse, all kinds of life things that have happened to people. So when you walk around and you see people that are obese or they're super overweight, or you look at them and you say, God, why don't they take better care of themselves? Well, I'm going to give you a different perspective on those folks. You better back up a second and probably know and understand that person has gone through something that led them to this state. And they haven't been to get the help they need yet. Because the diet industry works on the outside. Well, a diet's going to fix that. A diet is not going to fix what's inside you. A diet is not going to fix what's wrong inside your soul as a result of whatever you've gone through. What will fix it temporarily is food, drink, consumption, addiction, not just food, not just drink, drugs, alcohol, whatever. I mean, some of these folks have all of them. Some go to the addiction of choice. But what I learned that day was that, and as each one of these contestants spilled their guts to Dr. Phil, I watched every single second of it, and I took it in, and that changed everything for me. So between the testing that I was doing as the trainer, the nutrition protocols, everything about that challenge was done right from moment one. Of course, it's TV. There's a little bit of drama. There's a lot of cameras around. We want to catch some really good stuff for the TV, but the foundation of it was real. So that's what I knew of a weight loss challenge. Dr. Phil is a master. And Dr. Phil only brings people in that deliver. And I was honored to be in that position. I'm still honored to be in that position. And I was there because he knew, and the production staff knew that I would come through. And I did. So now the next year comes around, next season comes around, and we start to do some themed weight loss challenges. Really cool. Everybody's getting, people are getting help. You know, we actually, one other thing I want to mention about all of these weight loss challenges is that we partnered with different gyms around the country. The main one was Gold's Gym, which I also became an ambassador for at that point. I was an ambassador for Gold's Gym International for 17 years as a result of this. And in their hometowns, we would bring the challengers to LA for follow-ups and shoots and to assess them and just for checkups and just to keep them going and to keep that personal contact with them. We would fly them in. Then we would fly them back to their hometowns. And I had trainers in each one of their hometowns that I was overseeing for their progress. So this was done in the real world. You hear me talk about that all the time, the real world. This is the real world. Because we wanted these challengers to be able to take their own baton and run with it when this challenge was over. Because what good is any diet crap, any kind of a blow-through program that is very temporary, that gives you a temporary result, but you don't learn anything. You don't learn skills. We taught these people skills, just like you hear me talk about all the time. These people left each one of those LA sessions back to their hometown, back to their work, back to their families, back to their normal lives so they could acclimate what they learned into their real life and sustain that success. That's how it's supposed to be done. We continued that for the following season. We did about 4 or 5 seasons in a row of different themed weight loss challenges. Actually, it was even more than that. It was a lot more than that. About 15 of them. But the second season of my stint on Dr. Phil, which was now 2004, 2005, I'm sorry. 2003, 2004 was our season. 2004, 2005. Somebody sends me Variety magazine. And they send me a Hollywood Reporter. These are kind of show business magazines at the time. They're newspapers. Some of them are weekly, some of them are daily. I can't remember. I think they were actually daily. And cover of the page, NBC Productions picks up The Biggest Loser. The Biggest Loser is the name of the show. First line in the paragraph. The Biggest Loser is a combination of Big Brother meets Dr. Phil's Ultimate Weight Loss Challenge. That's how it works in Hollywood. The executive producers on this documentary, I saw a note at the gym. It was pinned on the door. Somebody saying, I'm obese. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. I'm pleading for my life. Please, can I get a trainer to help me? And that moved this executive producer when he saw it. That's how he says the show was developed or started. Maybe that note was there. Probably was. But you don't sell a show in Hollywood because of a freaking note on a gym from somebody crying their heart out. You sell a show in Hollywood because basically creativity, for the most part, is done there. There was still some left at that point. But you sell a show like that in Hollywood because they take different combinations of different things that are trending, that are working, and you emulate it. You put a little different spin on it because they don't like to take chances most of the time. They want to know it's going to work on some level. So Big Brother was already a hit. Obviously, what we did on the Dr. Phil Ultimate Weight Loss Challenge was a hit. They took those two combos and made The Biggest Loser. And they casted it. Went all over the country to cast the contestants. And they casted the training staff. They probably appointed, I don't think they casted, but basically they did. They casted the dietitians. They casted and they appointed the head physician and any other medical staff that was involved in that show. So now you roll the show. I don't think they really knew what they had there. They were rolling because everybody wants to lose weight. Obesity epidemic is huge in the United States. Big Brother, that voyeur kind of reality TV was really working at the time. Reality TV was all over the place. You had the Greatest Race or whatever that show. You had Survivor. You had these shows. You had, what was it? The one that Joe Rogan, what was the Joe Rogan one? Fear Factor. You had these like outrageous reality shows that shock TV that was really working. So let's take these weight loss challengers, who, by the way, had some of the same stuff, obviously, that the Dr. Phil Ultimate Weight Loss Challengers have that I told you about in that interview at the beginning of this. Let's just throw them in the gym. Let's just throw them out on the beach. Let's just throw them on a track. Let's just throw them in all these outrageous, ridiculous stunts and let the cameras roll out at the farm, the camp. And it worked for TV. People tuned in. Huge. Ratings off the chart. Ratings off the chart. Now, to get these people to get on the show, and the theme of the show, again, let's back up a second, was supposed to be to get healthy. Nothing was healthy about that show. Ever. From the get-go. The message was, you're overweight, you're hopeless. You get chosen to go to the farm or the camp or whatever it is, get the literal shit beat out of you, mentally and physically. You may have a chance to lose weight. Extreme calorie restriction. Extreme workouts for 8 to 10 hours a day. The cameras were rolling all day. You saw it. This is something I've been aware of for years, and I'm glad I get to put this out there right now. And you'll see why I'm doing it in a second. But you saw the training. You saw the calorie restriction. You saw the results. You saw the manipulation. You saw the humiliation. You saw the malpractice. This show was full of malpractice. If fitness and wellness and nutrition and losing weight and health optimization, if weight control and weight loss were the medical industry, that show would have been totally guilty of malpractice. But let's call it malpractice because that's what it was. It doesn't have to be legal or not. That's what it was. Nobody would ever pay for that. Ever. You go to a gym and see that, you'd run the other direction. It's common sense. Boy, did it make good TV, didn't it? You all watched it. Everybody watched it. Obese people, overweight people watched it. People that just wanted to watch a human cartoon, they watched it. It was outrageous. It was reality TV at its best, at the expense of these people who were misguided and misled into doing that show. Just like my friend David Smith. You saw him on the podcast a couple episodes ago. David lost 400 pounds. He gets on the 650-pound virgin. It's supposed to be an inspirational show. He became a trainer. Inspiration. Let's inspire America. And his story is truly inspiring. But what they did is they stuck him out with hidden cameras and hidden microphones on dates and made it about sex and made it about him entering the dating world. Complete fish out of water at that point. Because that's reality TV. That's what makes the money. And it's all about the money, isn't it? It's what it's always about at the end of the day, for most. I never went there. Never was about the money for me. You have to realize, I'll probably mention this again at the end, all you marketers out there, see me do shows on marketing. I've done 2 of them. They're my highest rated shows. The demise of health in America is largely because of misleading marketing. It's bamboozlement marketing. It's manipulating marketing, getting you to believe or buy something you don't really need, or you're misguided, or it has no realm of what you need in your life to accomplish what you want to accomplish. But you buy it anyway because you're convinced. Biggest loser, marketing machine, the workouts, the apparel, the books, everything. Multi-million, billion probably dollar industry. The word was that show was profiting after everything was paid off, and everybody profiting over $100 million. It went global. Again, why? Not because it was helping people, but because it was outrageous. It was cartoonish. In many ways, it was cruel. People like watching that kind of stuff. They like watching it on TV. They don't want it in their lives, but it's okay to watch it on TV. And that's where the success came. You saw malpractice on that show every single season. And there's 10 seasons of film on that show. So the proof is in the pudding, like I like to say. The work has been done. The damage has been done. The money's in the bank. And you took it. Yeah, you took it. Your integrity went down the shitter, but boy, your bank account's big. All of your bank accounts, everybody involved with that show. And everybody involved in that show, from the network executives that greenlight this stuff, to the executive producers, to the medical staff, the quote-unquote dietitians, the training staff, everybody. What's done is done. You did it. Like I said, it's all here for us to see. Who loses on all this? Let's talk about who the biggest loser is. The people sitting there way back in 2004, 2005, and all 10 or 11 seasons that it went on, or 13, I don't know. I didn't know exactly what it was. Who loses? Those people watching. Those people that need the help. Obesity and overweight ranges, levels, statistics in this country have increased 30% to this day since the day that show aired. Now, that's not the only factor why. Again, it goes back to other things you've heard me talk about on this show that were never really addressed. They might have been mentioned a little bit. But you're talking about food addictions. You're talking about ultra-processed foods. You're talking about behaviors, talking about psychological issues. You're talking about the issues in life, the traumas, the psychological issues, or whatever happened to make a person get into the state where they have put themselves in obesity. We didn't have obesity 60 years ago, 70 years ago, very, very little. Obesity has tripled since the early 60s in this country because of those reasons. But this show never addressed that. This show addressed the human cartoon, making people puke, making people pass out, literally people on the treadmill losing their legs, fainting and passing out. Do you realize the danger? People were airlifted off the set. People went into a hospital with life-threatening issues. By God's grace, they made it through. But this is what America saw. And it's solidified what many obese and overweight people thought. Like, well, gosh, if this is This is my lot in life. If I'm going to really improve my life, I got to get on that show. So every year, lines and lines and lines of people would be all over the country casting the show. Because again, people being manipulated and lured into the thing that, oh my God, I guess that's what it takes. I got to have that. I got to get on that show or my life's never going to be the same. I can't lose weight without that show. Some of them got on and came out worse. Here's the bottom line, and this is a logistic. To all you trainers out there, who I know, if you listen to me, you know what you're doing. But just for trainers out there in general and the general public, and to the trainers that were on that show, which really, as we've come to find, weren't really probably trainers. They may have got plucked out of some boutique gym in LA. I mean, what's his name actually admits in the documentary, I've never trained obese people before. What the are you doing on a show like that at this level, playing with these people's lives? And by the way, his behavior on that documentary was outrageous. That dude he'll never work again. He'll never work again. And anybody that would have either one of those trainers on as an expert, anybody on Fox News, any news outlet, anywhere that would have them on as an expert, or we even had them on before. But now that you've seen that, you have them on as an expert. Whew. Man, do you need ratings? Because they do provide that. Great talkers would make great politicians, don't you think? It's kind of the direction looks like they're going. But enough on them. Because they were picked. They were probably manipulated too, who knows? But there was something in their personality that let that happen. And they threw any kind of professional ethics out the freaking window to do that show and bank the money. Backtrack a second. Second season of Dr. Phil. Biggest Loser called me. Invited me down to Manhattan Beach, the sound studio. Set me on a sound stage and interviewed me for over an hour. Wanted me to come on the show as a trainer. I first pledged my allegiance to Dr. Phil. And second, I told them how I work. And I'd already seen a season of this. I mean, I saw the first season. I saw two things in an episode. I saw the female trainer had a lady that was clearly 350, if not 400 pounds, out in a field somewhere doing a squat, like a catcher squat. And this trainer over the top of her, screaming in her ear, lower, lower. That's actually on camera. And there are hundreds of scenes like that. I stopped watching after that. The other one on that same set was some kind of drag race thing where these people were actually put in these cars to drag race. There were two cars, two teams, and they didn't open the door to get these people in and out of the drag racing car. They had a slit in the window. And they had to come in and out of the window of the driver's seat to get into the car. That's supposed to be entertainment. That's supposed to help people. That's supposed to make people healthy. That's supposed to help the viewer go out there that needs help and is desperate for help. That's what they see. The damage that was done. I stopped watching after that. The communication gap between the wellness industry and the people that need the help the most with that show widened like 2 Grand Canyons. Jesus, you could have put a freaking army full of semis in that canyon, and it wouldn't even have made a dent. That's how wide it got. So fast forward now, we're at 75, probably 80% now. 75 was last year's figures, close to 80% obesity and overweight in this country. Not just because of that show, but because people don't have any real guidance. And they bring this documentary back, and it just kind of brings it all back. And it was time for me to do this because it needed to be called out. It needed to be called out. And now that America has seen it, you can make the judgments yourself. Again, I'm just the messenger, but I'm a very informed messenger. And I take this all very personally because I love my industry. I love what I do. And I love helping people. And I love the people that do what I do at my level and at my expertise and at my caring about what really happens with people out there. And I am not going to let this go to just let people watch that and not get my take on it. You got a doctor, the head physician on that show. You know what his job was before? If you watched the documentary, he was the physician for the LA Raiders. What is a physician's job for any kind of a professional sports team, a sports franchise? Get your stars, get your players back out on the field. Get them on the court. Get them on the ice. Whatever it takes. These people were suffering from potential and some health issues that they got from this work, but were still cleared to get on those cameras and go out and do all these outrageous stunts for the camera, for the TV, for the viewer, and let the trainer scream at them. Everybody okayed it. Everybody was all right because the money was rolling in. And again, that's what it's about, isn't it? Big takeaway here. I want to put it out here now before I forget, because I put this out before in my marketing shows. To all practitioners and anybody out there in any business, you don't have to sacrifice ethics and morality to make money. You can do the right thing and make money. You can help people and make money. In the wellness industry, when you have something that works, that is legitimate, it really works, people want it. And when people want it, they'll pay for it. You don't have to do that bullshit. You don't have to lie to people. You don't have to put that cartoon show on. But boy, did that make money. I mean, again, the merchandising, the whole thing. Hand over fist. The documentary, they interview a lot of the people who have been on the show. Overweight. Metabolism's shot probably forever. You see, here's a real basic rule that these trainers either didn't know, which they probably didn't, or that they completely ignored. It's called overtraining. You blow your hormonal system. And as I well know now, the time this airs, I probably would have already done my show on my hypopituitarism. I knew a lot about hormones before. I've always said hormones run the show. Now I really know that. But any practitioner in wellness knows that. And when you overtrain and you continue to overtrain, you blow your hormonal system. You go into a burnout. And when your hormonal system is burnt out, your cortisol levels are out of whack, your testosterone, your growth hormone, your insulin, your everything, all down the line. Look at metabolism dynamics in my book, Anti-Diet, The Paradigm Has Shifted. You'll get a 101 on all these hormones. You burn lean mass. Muscle dictates metabolism. How can you train for 8 to 10 hours a day at that level, adrenally burn out, and still maintain muscle? You lose muscle. Everything that you do in overtraining, in the long term, in the very short long term, comes back to get you and it makes that well a little more dry the next time you go to it. That weight loss well, that place you go, that program, that program that you want to do and apply to lose that weight. And eventually the well runs dry. And I'm afraid to say that most of the wells with the people that were on that show, the well did run dry. Now you saw the weigh-ins. Let's talk about the weigh-ins for a second. Were the weigh-ins real? Not what I heard. They weren't weekly. They were spread out over more time than just the week. You're talking major dehydration. Major components and things to make these people so dehydrated. So by the time and depleted, so by the time they got on that scale, that big stage with all the colors and them stripped down to their skivvies, so you could see that too, because that made great TV. Boy, did people get a kick out of that. See those weigh-ins in this outrageous way, these outrageous weight losses every single week. And the viewer then goes, whoa, getting the shit kicked out of you, that works. I want to do it. Give me some of that. That's the message. Well, that's not how it's done. There was some outrageous weight loss, but it wasn't real. Very soon, as you see in the documentary, and there are only a few of those, because there were hundreds of contestants in all these seasons. A few of them stepped up to tell their story. They lost all that weight so quickly. 800 calorie diets a day, 8 to 10 hours of workout a day. You tell me what is realistic about that. Is there one thing that is realistic about that in the real world? Or should it ever be? No, it shouldn't. Again, malpractice. You better know that they were sleep deprived as a result of being hormonally drained and physically drained and emotionally drained. Never anything addressed about how they got there. Oh, they had sad stories, which they would come in and slip those in every once in a while. Oh, my marriage is a mess. I'm this, I'm that. Probably some of I didn't watch most of it. I stopped watching it, but probably some stories on abuse, injuries, and things that I've talked about here before. And they put these people out there and did these exercises, these extreme workouts, and these extreme events compromised. They were okayed by the physician. Wow. You got to live with that, man. You got to live with that. Apparently you can. Apparently you can, because you got up on camera and you talked about it. Executive producers, they have no idea what the fuck exercise is and how to do this. They're producers. They sold the show. They were letting it go. Let them puke. Let this outrageous behavior happen. Let them overtrain. Let that malpractice go. Let America watch that. We're cranking it in. Our ratings are great. This is the biggest show on TV. That's what a producer wants. They don't know. Your little note that you saw on the door at the beginning. Right. Whatever. Again, just to backtrack what I said at the beginning. What we did on the Ultimate Weight Loss Challenge, the original one, and every one we did after that, we did it right. It was all on camera. It's all for everybody to see. They did it in their home environments with me, the rest of the staff as coach, Dr. Phil. All of them were done like that. Every single one that we did. And you can ask any one of those contestants. And many of them I'm still in contact with. And many of them still put the work in that they learned. The skills, the tools the knowledge, the personal empowerment, everything you hear me talk about, everything you hear in anti-diet, the paradigm is shifted. Everything you can see on my Revive and Sustain Wellness app. Get these things. They work. They're not the biggest loser, nor did they have that TV machine behind them. But boy, here's what I got that nobody on that show has anymore. The good Lord was watching me that day at Manhattan Beach when they went in to interview me, because at the time, I was honest about what I did, and I was honest about my allegiance to Dr. Phil, and I wouldn't have left what I was doing on Dr. Phil. But if they would have accepted my modalities and my philosophies and the way I work, I probably would have done the show. But it wasn't a fit. And that was God watching over me, my career. Show would have been different. I wouldn't have done all that shit. You wouldn't have seen that from me. I don't have the ability to do that. Can't do that. That's not who I am, and that's not ethical. It's not right. And again, I'll tell you, nobody would ever pay for this. Nobody. You could go to any gym anywhere across the country, any field, any place where some practitioner that does what I do, even if they're shit trainers, you'll never see that. Ever. Abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse. It's all there. And again, it's all there to see. Now, one of the trainers is on and doing kind of the media tour now and trying to defend the work, defend career, defend integrity. It's all on film. What are you going to defend? Everybody saw what happened. Caffeine pills, and whether or not the trainers got along, who gives a shit? What you did on that show and everybody, you damaged people. You took people out of the game. You took people that had maybe an inkling of hope and took them out of the game. We were daytime TV. We didn't have those kind of ratings. We had really good ratings. We were able to save a lot of that. My work, I still do. Still with Dr. Phil. This will be the 23rd year that I've been with the show, involved with the show. After I did and led the weight loss challenges with Dr. Phil, I would be on and he would have people, guests on the show, and it would be on for something else, and I would get with them. He would assign them to me, and I would work with them because they may have had a weight issue as well from what they came on the show with. Continue to do that. It's called integrity. It's called authenticity. It's called the way it's supposed to be done. And I'm very proud of my career. I don't have a home in Beverly Hills. I don't have a home in the Hollywood Hills. But I have one in Franklin, Tennessee. And I had one in Studio City. And I'm damn proud of it. Because I got it from my work being ethical. I'm in this now 42 years. So again, the reason I'm doing this show is because it's personal to me. When I see that does damage to people that I'm trying to help, and the people that do what I do out there, people that are trying to help. And again, as I've mentioned on this podcast, you're going to see me doing this because I have a platform and I have the experience, the media experience. So I feel it's my job to be the megaphone for integrity and authenticity in our wellness business for people to do what I do. But most of the people that are doing the great work out there, you'll never hear from them on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. They're just quietly doing the work in their communities and going home and losing integrity. You won't see them. What you see on Instagram, as you've heard me talk about before, is some of the offshoots, not quite as bad as what you saw in The Biggest Loser, but you see somebody with a ring light and a camera in the gym and all this extreme kind of training. It's all over the place. Your military training, your super extreme CrossFit-esque type of training, your kettlebell flows, and all this crazy stuff that is biomechanically a disaster for most people. Now, the people that are out there teaching it, and maybe your student and your clientele that's doing it, maybe it's right for them. Not saying don't do it, but do it for the right people. But you have got to get your message across to the right people. You talk about what you see on Instagram and you see on Facebook and you see on YouTube. You see this and it's like, my way is the best way. Not only is my way the best way, my way is the only way. Just like you saw in The Biggest Loser. That's what people got, whether you tell them that or not, whether you blatantly say this is my way is the best way and the only way. That's what people get. So they either look at that and they go, I can't do that. I'm going to throw in the towel. I'm going back over to the drive-thru. Lead me back to the fridge. Get me back to the bed. I'm going to go back into my depression. I'm hopeless. I can't do it. This is my lot in life. It's the message they get. Or they try it, like those people were forced to do on The Biggest Loser, and they hurt themselves and they damaged themselves metabolically. And the last thing the documentary did was, of course, lo and behold, slide you into the GLP-1s. Yeah. Two of the contestants on there obviously have been doing the GLP-1s. Now, maybe they were full-on diabetics. Likely they probably were, because when you saw footage of them on the show years back, they clearly looked like that. Probably had that going on. But that's where they went. Because that's the new diet industry. You've heard me talk about that before. It's not the only way. It's diabetic modality for severe diabetics. And I've seen it work for severe diabetics. I have them in my clientele. And it's saved a few lives. You've got an A1C that's way into the double figures. Get on a GLP-1, because that'll save you. But then you've got to take the baton and do it yourself, because you waste muscle, which again, muscle dictates metabolism. The muscle that you lose, over 50% of it is muscle. So when then you go off the shot, or you try to go on and live a normal life and sail in, you've dipped your metabolism down so low, which is what they did on The Biggest Loser. And there you have it. More manipulation, more misguidance, more misleading. So the message is, come back to center. Come back to what I do. Get this. I wrote this. Me and my partner, Chef Andy, we wrote this. This is not ghostwriting. This is not some publisher hiring a writer for me. This I wrote, pen to paper. 42 years of real work life experience. Body, mind, spirit, working from the inside out. Go to Amazon and get this. Anti-diet, the paradigm has shifted. Download the Revive and Sustain Wellness app. It is my job, my duty, and my mission to you to rescue from all that, to rescue you from all that. It is my job to rescue you from all of that you saw. And if you happen to watch this documentary, and I recommend you watch it, especially after you've seen this, and you'll have it into perspective. We can save the planet here. We can save people from obesity. This is arguably, metabolic health is arguably the largest health issue, if not one of the biggest health issues general issues, overall life issues of our time. Because your health runs your show. Body, mind, spirit, working from the inside out, your perspectives. How you see yourself, how you see the world, and how you see yourself in that world. Do the work. By this time, you've probably gotten an opportunity to see how my work saved my own life. It can save yours too. But you have got to do the work. And many of you are doing the work. And you got to continue. But you've got to pull in your family and your loved ones, your parents, your grandparents, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, sisters, your brothers, your great friends, your church, your communities. You got to bring them in. We got to take that 75 to 80% number down, and we can. Lose the ultra-processed food. 70% of our diet is all that. Lose all that. Review some of these podcasts that I've done. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. But you can do this. Take the message now that the Biggest Loser gave before about being hopeless and getting the crap beat out of you, and that's what it took, or that's what it takes to get healthy. Lose that, because it's a myth. It never was. It was a human cartoon. That's what it was, and that's what it is. Anybody, like I said, involved with that, all the way from okaying it from the top, all the way down to the practitioners doing the day-to-day. You got to live with yourselves. Yeah, you can defend it. Of course, you're going to try to defend it, but you can't. You can't. It is what it is, and what is done is done. But America needs to move on. And that's why I did this today, because I feel it's my duty and my mission to give you the truth, to give you the truth, you the self-empowerment, you the skills, the tools, and the simple knowledge to put this to work day to day and make it work for your health and your life and your families too. And like I close my on-the-fly videos with on day to day that you see on Instagram and on Facebook, that's the message, everybody. God bless. Hey, everybody, thanks again for tuning into the RR Live Wellness Unfiltered podcast. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the show. And don't forget the Revive and Sustain Wellness app. Go to www.reviveandsustain.com and download the app. 42 years of my experience at your fingertips. Till next time, everybody, in great health.